So let's have a real quick tarot segment, okay? Let me just pull from our trusty deck here. All right, so we've got the Hermit. Now, with the Hermit, instantly we already think, okay, this is a phase of isolation. However, it's not always so much isolation where you are always by yourself, okay? If you are in a hermit phase because of a life transition, okay, whatever that looks like on whatever level that is, sometimes you have to be mindful of the amount of isolation that you allow yourself to be in, okay? When you are in a hermit phase, again, I emphasize, and I'm purposely being redundant, it does not mean that you are always by yourself, okay? You have to learn how to balance, yes, being by yourself so that your nervous system can be regulated during whatever transition you're in, being by yourself long enough to allow your nervous system to re regulate it, and yet also finding a balance of just being in the world. That could look like going to a happy hour, okay? That could be like going to a party, whether you go by yourself or not. It could just simply mean you being engaged with other people, whether it's just being in the midst of other people or actually sparking up just a small conversation, okay? Finding that balance, having that balance, because yes, it is healthy to be with yourself, to be in your own energy, again, to be by yourself, to allow for nervous system regulation. Yes, that is healthy so that you can reclaim your energy, so to speak, because it does. Listen, I know that it takes a lot, especially as an introverted person. So I like to call myself an outgoing introvert, okay? Meaning I know how to mingle, I know how to talk to people, I know how to have conversations with people I don't know. I have no problem showing up anywhere by myself, sitting at a table with people that I don't know. Okay? I am not shy about that. Okay? Yet at the same time, when all of that is over, I need space to be by myself, to be in isolation, so that I can be in my own energy. I don't get energized being around other people. I get energized with my own energy being alone. Okay? So that's why I say, I guess it's a label that I give myself, but whatever. But I'm using that as an example that you can be, it's important when you are in a hermit phase to have that balance, even if it means you going to an art class, okay? A simple painting class, a dance class, just something to where you can, I don't want to say give yourself a break from the hermit phase, but in a sense, yeah, give yourself a break from being in isolation. It's important to have that balance as well, okay? Because when you first in what you have to understand is when you are in that isolation moment, you have regulated your nervous system, you're being in your own energy. That is so powerful, and it's like an armor. It's like you're arming yourself with your own energetic protection when you do go out into the world, okay? And I'm not saying you have to be out in the world for a long time, just a few moments here and there, a few hours here and there. And then you go back into introspection. Because really, that's what the hermit phase is for anyway. It's saying, okay, I see what has happened in my life. I see this transition that I am in, and I'm going to gift myself the space to process what has happened, to process now this new level of existence that I have never been before. I'm going to allow for wisdom to download in this new phase so that I can know how to move and move effectively in this space that I have never been before. I'm also going to use this time of introspection to see if and where my energy could is still anchored to old ways of existing for safety. Okay? Now, I'm using this time of introspection to look at, to redefine what I view as being safe, what feels safe. I'm going to redefine what being safe means now, because now what was safe then, it looks different because now I'm existing in a new way. Now I'm existing with a new lens. That's what being in that hermit phase brings. That's what that introspection brings, okay? And we have to allow that. And the way for us to allow that in is to have the balance between the silence, the isolation, and connecting with other people. So, I don't want to cut this off too soon, but that's what I feel about the hermit. Okay? The hermit is not a, the hermit is, it doesn't have to be this dark, dead silence. I mean, that can be a part of it, but it doesn't always have to look like that. The hermit brings a certain level of confidence in your intuition. The hermit also, I'm feeling, it brings a certain level of confidence in your psychic ability, because it takes you settling into your own spirit and into your own energy so that you can learn what your own gifts are, so that you can be confident in what your own gifts are, so that you can be confident in your own inner wisdom, in your own intuition. So allow for the hermit phase to reveal to you what your gifts are, your spiritual gifts are, and how you came here to express those. And I just used psychic ability as an example, but allow for the introspection to be an avenue of you learning your spiritual gifts, knowing when to use them, how to use them, knowing just because you can read someone or read a situation doesn't mean that you need to do it all the time. But yeah, that's what I feel with the hermit. Okay? So just find the balance. If you feel, only you can determine that. If you feel that now, you're in this transition and you do have this desire where you're noticing that you want to be by yourself more, feel into that. Give yourself the time to be by yourself, but also discover where you can just be out in the world, how you can interact with others. And I'm not even talking about on a deep level, just on a surface level. Like I said, it could be just an art class, it could be a dance class. Okay, just let it be light. Let it be light. Just make sure that you're finding that balance, having that balance. Okay? All right. Let me know what your takeaways are from the hermit. And we're going to keep going through the deck. All right? And let this time, and this has nothing to do with the hermit card, but I invite you to really let this time be a moment where you are really filling into your spiritual gifts, where you're really leaning into your spiritual expression. Really lean into that and let that be your focus. Gift yourself a full moon ritual where you use the energy and the illumination from that full moon to shine a light on your spiritual gifts. And use the next 30 days to really allow those gifts to be developed. Not to run from them, not to be afraid of them, but to allow them to be developed so that you can start to exist in another way. See, listen, as spiritual beings, yes, we're in this world, in this physical body, but we came here to operate outside of it at the same time. The way that we exist here is not going to look like everyone else's existence who aren't conscious of their own spirit and their own energy. The way that you go about getting things is going to look different. It's not going to follow the system's way of doing things. It's going to look different. But it's only going to look different if you're tapped into your spiritual gifts and your spiritual power. You're not going to do the same. Things are not going to come to you in the same way that things come to a person who are following a system. And they're just in their head, and they're just in their ego. All right? It's not going to look the same. It's not supposed to, because you're a spiritual being. And you know that, you're conscious of that. So let your spiritual gifts work for you. And in order for those gifts to work for you, you have to be aware of them and allow them to develop. All right? So if you want support in that, get a reading from me so we can go through that with a 4-card spread. All right? And I will leave the link in the actual comment section so that you can schedule your reading with me. All right? Let me know in the comments what your takeaways are from the Hermit, and we'll keep going. Stay magical.